Peacock Tract is home, a place imprinted on the interior and exterior landscape of those who grew up in its environs, where roots were planted, identity formed, belongingness cultivated, and spirit born. It is where those of us who grew up here spiritually return in times of joy, pain, and sorrow. It is the beginning of our remembering. A world before the construction of the interstate system relocated 1,859 families, dismantled 74 small businesses, and left the remaining merchants in economic chaos. Beginning in 1956, with the construction of 42,500 miles of high-speed, limited-access highways, engineers and highway administrators made a deliberate and faithful decision to allow the interstate to penetrate the heart of the cities. In retrospect, policymakers and public officials, especially at the state and local levels, used the interstate to destroy poor and black neighborhoods. This in an effort to change the racial landscape of post-war American cities, as demonstrated in the Peacock Tract community in Montgomery, Alabama. Between the late 1950s and early 1970s, nothing impacted these neighborhoods like the Eisenhower interstate system. Quote, "No federal venture spent more funds in urban areas and returned fewer dividends to central cities than the National Highway Program." End of quote. Mark I. Geffen, historian.
The interstate that was developed when I was at Tuskegee, somewhere around between 1964 and 65, choked this business community together. If you notice, when they constructed I-85 and I-65, there's no on or off ramp leading into this neighborhood, so that the businesses that once lived here began to dry up. The people who once had homes on Stone Street, if you look around, you see those homes are no longer in existence. So the people moved from this neighborhood to the outskirts. We one time as a church used to brag about being the church in the midst of the people. But today you can see we are a church standing alone because there are no people residing in this neighborhood.
Although the interstate was federally funded, state highway departments and local officials selected the interstate routes.
We enjoyed each other
Here.
very much. We were inquisitive because we didn't know much about what was going on downtown, except for those people who worked in those different places. And I didn't witness any protests. I didn't witness any outward objection. But I could see the problem that it created, because it just tore up the community, really. Off the top of my head, I'd say there was at least 20 businesses in this 2-block area, at least 20. I'm talking from Rosa Parks now, Cleveland Avenue, to Oak Street.
The fond memories, since I've been living here on Cobb Street, I can remember Mobile Street had plenty of business up and down Mobile Street, and the best part, we were surrounded by a grocery store, which was Big Zion. It was walking distance, and we had a lot of homes that was on the street during that period of time. And now you look around, all of the homes have been demolished, and I would like to see this area be rebuilt. I felt very safe. We had good neighbors, and we was the type of neighbors that looked out for one another. The most special thing about 62 Cobb Street is when Whoopi Goldberg came to the city of Montgomery, and the film came out, which was The Long Walk Home. This was her home where she lived in the movie. And I had a chance to meet her, and my mother met her, and she was just a wonderful person to be a part of. And it was just nice. With this project, we embark on a journey of not only creative placemaking,
but place-keeping and reimagining home. The intersection of West Jeff Davis Avenue and Holt Street is the center of the project and extends to Rosa Parks Avenue, formerly Cleveland Avenue, east, and Holt Street from Day Street north to Mill Street south. We cannot bring back the irreplaceable, but we can fully use our authentic cultural voice to communicate from whence we come. In telling Ibana's story, we reimagine our strength and realign ourselves to our history. Historic places have powerful stories to tell, but they cannot speak for themselves. That is up to us. The Peacock Tract Creative Placemaking Project is an exercise in remembering using community planning and development to identify, witness, and translate the history of this rich community using the arts to reignite community spirit, using the arts to make changes to the landscape in productive, creative ways by reclaiming vacant spaces, converting and replacing them with installations, murals, gathering spaces, healing spaces that are authentic, vibrant, and a reflection of what one was. Our goal is to revitalize a designated area of the historical Peacock Tract area of Montgomery by utilizing the voices of present and former residents, talents of artists, designers, cultural and community organizations, and city partners to facilitate engagement in community planning to recreate a bona fide character of place to ensure equitable outcomes for local stakeholders with arts at its core. Specific community energy at this time comes from Montgomery Department of City Planning, 21 Dreams Arts and Culture, and community builders past and present residents who collaborated in 3 community cafes with Tuskegee University Public Dialogue Team to design a framework for the Peacock Tract project to address food inequality through a creative lens. Spirit of place should never be lost or forgotten. Montgomery's African American community has an enduring presence stamped on this land. The people who built and those nurtured in these communities need to be acknowledged and remembered because they were the prologue to the future. This setting explores not only the past, but what the past spawned, the future.